guys, and welcome back to your one room schoolhouse. If you are new here, my name is Mary Barfield and I'm a homeschooling mama to a first grader and a third grader. And today's video is going to be the fourth video in this video series where we review all of the individual Little School of Smith's American Girl History units. This will be our third one we've completed this year. Last year we started with Kaya, but then we took a break. And this year we are doing one after the other to create a full year of a gentle intro to American history with my girls. So we have just finished Josefina, and her time period is 1824, learning about growing up in the Southwest frontier. So today's video is going to be all about what we did, what we enjoyed about it, if there was anything that we wish we had done differently, any new books that we brought in, the activities we did, etc. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that we are big fans of this curriculum. This unit also was a great one as well, did not disappoint, so only really great things to say about it for the most part. So before I hop into this unit, if you aren't familiar with this, I'm just going to do the quickest of overviews so we don't bore the people that know about it, but also those of you who have never seen this before understand what we're talking about. So Little School of Smiths, I'll link her website down below. And I forgot, y'all, I keep forgetting to talk about this. I have a 10% off discount code. She was so sweet to be able to give that to me to pass along to you guys. I actually don't make any commissions off of it. She's not able to offer this at that time because she is a small singular individual run shop. She is a homeschooling mom who also makes curriculum, and she is a one-woman show. So she's not able to offer any kind of commissions or anything, but we just love it so much that I just want to share it with everybody because we are like, it has literally been the best thing that we have done this year so far, and I want everybody else to enjoy it just as much as we do. So on top of that, though, she was able to offer that 10% discount. I'll leave it here and link it down below for you guys if you want to check her out. But Little School of Smiths, she creates PDF curriculum. She has quite a few now on her channel. We've done her Amazing Body unit. She also has a space one, geography. She has a couple different I guess I would call them like themed units dealing with American history. So we're doing the American Girl one. She has another one that's exploring U.S. history, utilizing the, what are they called? The You Wouldn't Want to Be a So-and-So series. Those, if you've been in any library, you probably know what books I'm talking about. She's also just released her first Ancient Civilizations unit. She's coming up with a Ancient Greece one and some other ones. So she's just rocking and roll over there. She's bringing out great products. They are quite popular with a lot of homeschoolers that I know, and they are a big hit in our home. So these units for all the American Girls that she's put out one for are all 4 weeks long. Now you could speed that up if you want to, or you could spread it out, but we are following the 4-week schedule with this. That has been working perfectly for us. And you can do them individually. You don't have to do them all one after the other like we are. If you just want to do one over the summer, or you want to just bring in something about like, you know, World War II and you want to bring Molly's unit in, you can use them individually. You don't have to do them all like we are, but we are loving this year's intro to American history by doing them one after another in chronological order. So it is literature based, of course. You know, you're going to have your spine books. She offers optional additional books in her in the instructor guide as well. She has lots of hands-on activities. There's narration notebooking, there's mapping, there's all sorts of goodness in this. So I think it really suits anybody, no matter your learning style or y'all's teaching style in your homeschool. There is something for everybody in these units. Okay, so without further ado, let's talk about Josefina and how this went for me and my girls. So first off, if you've never seen one of these review videos, also if you want to see my other ones, I'll link that playlist down below for you guys. But what I like to do first is just kind of talk about what we did, and then I kind of sprinkle my review in with what we did and how it went and everything. But overall, we had such a blast with this unit, you guys. So first off, let's talk about the main spines you will need in order to complete this unit. So with Josefina, she is one of those girls that has one of these welcome to books. It's Welcome to Josefina's World. They are the best. We love these. They have beautiful illustrations in them. And what it really comes down to is it's facts about the time that the American Girl is growing up in. So this is all about the Southwest frontier, New Mexico. And it talks about just what daily life was like then, if there were any wars going on, which there were. That, you know, you had the Mexican War going on between the U.S. and Mexico, and that's how we ended up taking New Mexico territory. But they talk about all that in here. So it combines Josefina the fictional historical character with real historical facts and what was going on at the time. It's a combination of real life photographs as well as some drawn depictions of what was going on back then, and my girls like that combo of it. So this is one of those finds you will read over the 4 weeks, and it's my girls love these books. They just like, they want to pull them open and just look at everything. What you will be reading over the first 3 weeks, so 1 per week, are the actual books from Josefina's series. So week 1, you'll read Meet Josefina. Week 2, you will read Josefina Learns a Lesson. And then week 3, you read Happy Birthday, Josefina. Now, you don't read one of these chapter books for week 4. You actually have a list of books that she recommends that you can read more about the Santa Fe Trail and the Real Camino, or Camino Real. I'm going to say this wrong. Camino Real. It was the trading route that was from New Mexico up to Santa Fe, which was Mexico's territory. And then the Santa Fe Trail goes over from Santa Fe to Jefferson, I think, if I'm correct, if I'm remembering this correctly. And that was like more the American trading route. So you learn about both of those trails during your 4th week, and you bring in a book, which I'll explain which one we brought in. It was actually... we happen to have this on hand, and it was one of the recommended ones. We had it on hand from Ambleside Online, Tree in the Trail. We were actually planning to read this the second half of the year with just my oldest daughter as like her geography book, like 1 chapter a week, but we actually realized this would be perfect to read because this tree is in the trail and you learn all about the history of it and what was going on at the time. And this was a big hit. My girls love this. So this was our spine for the 4th week. If you're not familiar with Halling C. Halling books, he's got some really great books out there with wonderful illustrations in them, living narrative books. They really are a big hit with my girls. We've also read Paddle to the Sea, and we read Seabird. So this is the 3rd book we've read from Halling C. Halling. Next, I like to talk about what are the main topics we talk about each week. Obviously, we're reading a fictional historical fiction story about Josefina, but we do cover specific topics within her time period each week. So there's a main focus each week is the best way to explain it. So week 1 was all about meeting Josefina, getting to know her, but also learning about New Mexico at the time that she was living. And the book that we brought in from the additional books resource was, I'm going to look at my notes real quick. It was Arrow to the Sun, A Pueblo Indian Tale. Now, we got this from our library, so I don't have it anymore in hand. So any pictures that I don't have, I'm going to put up here on the screen. This was great. This was a folktale, Pueblo Indian folktale. The girls really like folktales, so they really resonated with this one. This also had really beautiful illustrations inside, so it was a big hit. Week 2 was all about life in the Southwest frontier and goats, because there's a goat in the story that is terrorizing Josefina. It's kind of funny. Her name is Florecita, and she is a pain in the butt. And so we actually take this opportunity in week 2 to study goats. We actually do some narration notebooking on it. I'll share that in a second about what that looks like. And we learned about the different parts of goats and things like that. We also read additional books on goats. So the 2 that we read were the three Billy Goats Gruff. That's this one. My girls love this so much. They asked, they're like, can we purchase this one? I was like, oh my gosh, yes, okay. I haven't purchased it yet, but they keep asking. And the other one was the Grumpy Goat, which they also thought was super cute. It was about Grumpy Goat that ended up turning into a happy goat. But you know, that whole saga where they turn from, you know, not such a happy character, you figure out why they're not happy and then they become happy, you know, that whole thing. Week 3 was learning all about the Southwest community, how people banded together and worked together. A terrible natural disaster happens in the Josefina book. So they talk about how community comes together, as well as talking about the pueblos, like the little towns that the Pueblo Indians had created. Not towns, they're like, almost look like, apartments that are built on top of each other. You've definitely seen these before, I'm sure, in your history class at some point. So we're learning about that. And we also see Josefina's interaction with the Pueblo Indians and how that relationship works or worked back then. They needed to trade with each other, so you kind of get to experience that as well. And for that week, we read Fry Bread, which even actually has its own recipe in there to make fry bread. We did make fry bread. We didn't follow this recipe. We followed the recipe that was in the instructor guide for this unit, and it turned out really good. The girls actually liked it. They're not normally adventurous, but it's bread and you fry it. How could they not like it? And week 4, as I previously mentioned, was all about El Camino Real, as well as the Santa Fe Trail, and what that was like living on the trail, trading on the trail. We learned about a couple that got married. It's actually this guy, Kit, and this woman, Josefa. Josefa was a Pueblo Indian. Kit was an American mountain man, back, mountain woods man. And talking about their marriage, how he lived on the trail and would come home, and their family dynamic. It was really interesting for the girls to really see how people lived back then. Next, let's talk about some of the hands-on activities we did. So if you have never seen any of my previous videos, quick rundown, we got these extra large sketchbooks per the instructor guide's recommendation. She recommends getting the Canon XL ones, but they only had 30 pages in them and they were more expensive. So I went ahead and got the Amazon Basics 100 sheet mixed media paper one, and it has held up perfectly. We're able to fit all the different girls in here. I know that Lindsay from Little School of Smiths, what she did was she got the watercolor one, and then she would do one per girl, I think. That might be incorrect, but that's what I think she was doing. I just thought this was a better fit for what we were trying to do with all the girls, and we'll probably still have excess pages left over after we finished all their units. But this will be a nice little keepsake that my girls get to have later on after we finished all the units. So in here we do a lot of different narration notebooks, and map work. So one of the big things we did was this is included in the curriculum. You print this out and you follow the instructions in the instructor guide, but they're like, this is where Mexico City is. Here's El Camino Real, the trail going up to Santa Fe, and Santa Fe trail going off to the east, understanding that where the Rio Grande was in relation to that. Another thing that they had a lot of fun doing was creating an Adobe home. So like doing a bird's eye view of what it looked like. You would have the courtyard in the middle, but then you'd have all your rooms on the outside. They really liked learning about that in the Josefina's world, because there's a whole actually, let me see if I can find it and show you, because it's really cool how they show you how people lived back then, what the different rooms had. It's a drawing, it's not a picture, but I think that's kind of why the girls liked it so much. Oh yeah, here it is. I used to love those kind of infographics when I was their age, so I'm not shocked that they were like, wait, can we study this a little longer? They like stayed on that page for about 30 minutes, I swear. And then we did the drawing. Here's actually, this I just think is so funny. Here's the thing that we did on the goat. This was again included in the instructor guide. You print it out and then you are labeling all the parts of the goat, learning about the anatomy. And then one last thing I was gonna share is that this was the Santa Fe market that my oldest daughter drew, how everybody came together there and then they would trade and do different things. So, and you see here, Josefa, that's the woman that we learned about that married the American mountain man. So the girls really they really liked the story. They liked learning about what it was like to live over there. We learned a little bit about the Mexican War, but we didn't really go into depth in that. That wasn't the big focus of this unit. It was just kind of a blip at the end. But that's actually kind of why I like these Little School of Smith units, is that it introduces U.S. history in a very gentle, age-appropriate way for a young to upper elementary student. And yes, do we touch upon the wars and things like it? Yes, but it's not going into gruesome detail, and it's just enough where it's getting them introduced to it that then in a few years you can really kind of continue to delve into those topics and things that happen, and maybe some of the more tougher topics. Some things that we did from a hands-on perspective besides making fry bread is we did some arts and crafts. Let me grab them. So in Josefina's story, she has a keepsake box. Her mother has passed away. You find out about that the first page of her first book. So it's her sisters and her dad living by themselves. And she has a little keepsake box, a wooden keepsake box, where she puts all of these memorabilia and keepsakes that remind her of her mom. So what they do in the instructor guide is one of the things that you can do is create your own keepsake boxes. I bought these. This is my oldest daughter's, how she painted it. I bought these wooden boxes for $1 from the Dollar Tree. So by the way, I know not every Dollar Tree has the same things that I have, but definitely go check your Dollar Tree. They even had paints for $1. So sometimes it might be cheaper. This is my youngest daughter's. It might be cheaper to get stuff there for art supplies than going to your Michael's, especially for younger kids who don't need like the nicest or fanciest arts and crafts, if you know what I mean. But my youngest daughter did this one. They are so sweet. They have them up in their rooms. They're like, I'm going to put this in my keepsake box. I obviously took everything out because I wanted to share with you guys, but they really liked doing this craft. Another one that we did was, she has a link to a YouTube video that is a tutorial about how to paint a southwestern, I think it's meant to be dusk. I think it's a setting sun, but you have the cactus, and then there's the sun setting and everything. They loved this. It's a step-by-step. She teaches you how to mix the colors and blend. They learned a lot of technique from this too, but then I even did it with them. We all ended up with our own paintings, and I love that. We've been putting all of our watercolor paintings with painter's tape on our walls in the living room and then up our stairs. So my husband's like, I kind of like this artwork. I'm liking this like motif we got going on. So we're just going to keep adding to it through the rest of the year. But this was another fan favorite for my girls, and the link to the video, the tutorial, was absolutely perfect. One thing I will say that is a little different than the other units with this one was that there weren't as many video links. I think there were maybe 2. And I'm sure that comes down to the material, the content that's being focused on in here. There might not have been as many options for younger elementary students for videos. So that might be why she didn't include as many. We are visual learners. We love the videos. So that was the only thing. Like, it wasn't a bad thing. It just, I noticed towards the end, I was like, we haven't really watched a lot of videos this time. So again, not a bad thing, just something to note. If you guys are visual learners, you might have to go searching for your own. I kind of just let it slide because we did a lot of the hands-on activities in this unit because we had enough on our plate. I didn't need to go find another video for us to watch. But overall, this unit went so well. The girls learned a lot about living on the Southwest frontier during the early 1800s, and they enjoyed it. They really loved Josefina's story. It was much more about family and community. It wasn't as harrowing. There was a little part with a snake and inviting someone that got a little crazy, but all was well. Nothing bad happened in that respect. But we definitely enjoyed this unit. It was a really good one. And now we are moving on to Kirsten's unit, which is the Pioneer Days. Like, think Laura Ingalls Wilder style. But if you guys have any questions about this unit, anything that I talked about, any resources, leave them down in the comments. If you are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you stick around, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, y'all.